Hello, and welcome one and all to this episode of the Voices of the South. Today I want to start the episode by asking you a question. What do you get when you combine the will to change the world for the better and the artistic skills of a performance in the style of Circus du Soleil? Well, the answer is easy. You get Circus Zambia. Probably your question at the moment is, what is Circus Zambia? And lucky for you, I have the answer right here. Located in Lusaka, in Zambia, Circus Zambia is the first circus company of the country, but not only that, Circus Zambia is also a development project that uses circus-like performance to transform the world. Without giving too much in advance, since I will not be able to make justice of the work they do, and Gift will do an amazing job at explaining it, Circus Zambia focuses their work on three sectors. The body, where they offer free training to vulnerable youth in the community. The mind, where they support the same vulnerable youth in their academic development by helping them succeed and even giving scholarships. And last but not least, the soul, where they focus on giving the youth a way to talk and process complex topics like sexuality, use of alcohol, and even climate change. With almost a decade under their belt and more than 250 young people plus their families being benefited from the program, I am confident to say that Circus Zambia is an amazing program that you're going to get introduced in this episode of the Voices of the South. Welcome, Gibbs Chansa, to the Voices of the South. Today you're coming representing this wonderful organization that is called Circus Zambia. I've been reading a little bit about what you guys do. Originally, I thought that you were focusing on the sexual and reproductive rights of people in Zambia, but the more I digged into your webpage, the more I saw that you guys have an amazing and very extent coverings on. You go from education, you go from physical activity, you go from vulnerability. You basically cover everything that a young person needs to become fully functional and fully grown up and adult. And I love how you're doing this. I love the whole energy of the circus and the performance that you are creating. Thank you very much for being in the interview. Thank you very much for coming to the program. And the question that I would like to ask is, well, how does Circus Zambia start? What is the inspiration and where do you start with this idea?
Thank you so much, Carlos, for having me. Right now I'm in Lusaka, Zambia. So Lusaka is actually the capital city of Zambia. And so usually I say to people, when you come to Zambia and you ask the do's and don'ts, they'll say definitely go see the Victoria Falls, which is one of the seven wonders of the world. It's phenomenal. It's really really amazing. And I invite you to come and see it. But when you are in Lusaka again and you ask the same question, they'll say, don't go to these townships. So one of them is called Chiboria. And this is where we come from. So this is where also Circus Zambia originate. So growing up in this township, Chiburia, we were very active as young people. I say this because my two co-founders, Bernard and Amos, we're four co-founders. So there's Bernard, Kaumba, Amos Malokwa, Gift Chancer, and there's a Dutch development worker called Charlotte Grun. But so the story is me, Bernard, Amos, and Bernard, grew up in this neighborhood, and we were very active young people. And every time we'd like go, do acrobatics or backflips in the street. And eventually we were going out of the community, but we, realized that if you are from this community, you are perceived very different. Like a potential criminal, like people who don't trust you. But I think also this affect many people, because a lot of people have that time I would say they're lost even the sense of belonging and things like that. Like if you say you're from this township, then even people won't give you work because they just don't trust this township. But as young people, like I was saying, we were very active, and we were performing, and we reached a stage where we were seen on TV, we were traveling, and then there was just a lot of young people that were coming to us and like wanting to do what we were doing. So we thought, what if actually we set up a social circus here in the townships, and we can perform, and we can bring people from outside to come inside and perform, and we can bring the young people from also outside to go from inside to go outside, and that way we can change, the we can change the perception about the township, because it was infamous of drugs and criminality. And also, what we also wanted to do was just to show that not all the young people from these townships are criminals. Not all the young people, want to dive into bad behavior. All they want is a platform, is an opportunity, to go back to school, to express themselves. And so that was the idea of Circus Zambia. And like, we're very lucky because I think at that time as well, we really started with an idea in like 2010. I mean, we were always talking about it even when we were young, like, oh, we should, like, do something in the compound. We were very aware where we were coming from. And so, as much as we traveled outside and came back inside, then we could even see the differences. Like, our community lacked basic infrastructure, is, no proper sanitation, and there was just a need. And we thought, like, if we can come up with like performances, if we can come up with, find a way to engage young people, then we could raise like noise, and that way we can, create change. So in 2015, 2016, December 2016, like a beginning of actually 2016, we registered Circus Zambia as a non-profit. But we, before even that, it's just because also we were not like, we didn't know what to do. So as soon as people started realizing what we're doing, they were coming to us and saying, you know what you're doing, you can register as an NGO, because we were just like still doing activities in the community. And then they were like, oh, you can set up a website, you can do this in like a professional manner. So for us it became like a journey from there. And so in 2015 we registered. Then 2016 as well, in June, we had a huge exchange with young people that came from USA, that were into circus, came to us in Chibodia. And this was big for young people from Chibodia, because, like, look at these young people that came all the way from USA, and they were working with our young people in Chibodi, and we were doing circus, and this also opened up. I mean, also in Zambia, it brought a lot of like questions, like, who are these like people that are coming all the way from like USA, coming into the township, and also like, what is this organization? What are they doing? So that became like the basis of even us believing in, like, oh, actually we're doing something. But also, like, a lot of learning, a lot of big learning as we went along. So yeah, I mean, I think that is the beginning, I would say.
So you start with just your friends and you making a street performance of art and doing all these amazing movements and all these amazing and very taxing physical acrobatics into the streets. And then this evolves into, hey, how about we transform this into a tool for change, and we start opening spaces for vulnerable people, vulnerable young people, so they can develop and they can transform their life. And this program has evolved into these almost 10 years into
Yeah,
many, many different programs, right? Like right now you have
yeah,
three main programs, if I'm not mistaken: the body, the soul, and the mind. And all of them
yes.
try to help vulnerable young people in different ways. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about more of those programs, what they do, a little bit of how many people you have managed to reach, as far as I could see on your last report on 2022, there was about 250, maybe 300 people just on 2022, but you have been doing this for 10 years. So I don't know if you can share a little bit more on these aspects of Circus Zambia.
Yes, so Circus Zambia has three main areas, and then within those three main areas is other branches as well. So we have the social circus. So in the social circus, that's where you find the body, mind, and soul, and we have the creative hub, and then we have the performance company. Like, like we started as young artists. I think even though we didn't know that we were like artists, we were still performing. And I think eventually, as we got more opportunities, I, for instance, went to like do some schooling in China, and then came. First, I went to the Netherlands in a circus school, in a circus and dance school. Then I came back. Then I went to China together with my friends because we got an opportunity from the Ministry of Tourism and Arts in Zambia. But yes, so as we grew, we were like, okay, we were artists and we were experts in like circus and acrobatics. And like you said, we wanted to use it as a tool to engage with young people on a professional level as well. Because also we thought like I'm like me, if I'm performing sometimes, or if we're in the theater creating a show, sometimes I forget, Like it's only now that I'm like, I have two babies, by the way. So I'm like, now I know, like, okay, I'm working. I need to close it at some point and go back and see my family. But yes, we have three main areas: the performance company, the creative hub, and the social circus. The performance company is where all the young people can perform professionally. Right now, we have like 15 young people that are like professional performers, and we do lots of events throughout. We have our own space. We call it the creative hub, where we hold performances. We do workshops and interventions with young people. And then the creative hub is more about like, like external collaboration or internal collaboration, bringing other expertise, other skills coming to collaborate with Circus Zambia. And then the social circus has three main areas: the body, mind, and soul. So in the body, this is a roadmap as well. We have it's a roadmap for young people to become like circus performers. And then in the mind, and we support young people to go back to school. So we've supported over 50 young people in the course of 10 years that we've been learning, at least with like, like from like paying their school fees from like grade 7 to like grade 12. Now the government have introduced actually free education. But then if you come from Chibodia, young people still facing a lot of like challenges because A is the schools are back, and B, these like come from disadvantaged communities. So it's all about survival. So their families won't manage to buy them like school books, uniforms. So what we're trying to do is still support with those things. And then in the soul, then we talk about issues that young people face in the community. So in the soul program, we like like when you come right now, we have a project that are funded by Comic Relief. We have a project that is funded by Adidas Foundation. We have a project that is funded by SISU. The project that we're doing with Comic Relief is so focused on like gender equality, gender equity, and working with young people there. And then the project that is funded by Adidas is working in, like, we're expanding now. We will be working in, I think, about 30 schools in Lusaka. So that is even outside our townships, where we'll be talking about, mental health, bullying, and all of those things. And so we have initiatives that we've set up that are focused on environment. So we also try to like just contextualize the sustainable development goals. If I brought you, Carlos, to our township, you could be doing everything because there is just a need, like a need for for things to happen. Like, there's no proper roads, there's no proper sanitation. Like right now, a friend of ours just set up like a hospital because we don't have like a proper hospital in the township. There is a hospital, a government hospital, but it's like far away from the township. So it's the question that we always ask is like, how much are you do you want to manage to do, and where do you reach? And if we can't do it, then we can refer you to other organizations that are doing these other things. But yeah, so we try to use the holistic approach, and we try to like combine, you know, some of the young people that we've supported, for instance, in schools, they've also participated in our performance company. And some of the young people that we just reach outside, especially in schools, we just go, like me, I would go and work with like a school, and then we maybe, for instance, we did the project on crowns for condom a long time ago, which was on like HIV prevention, and we were using Circus as a tool, and I would go to work with these young people, and like break down HIV in using Circus methodologies, and like facilitate a workshop using play, train, perform. So young people would go, we play together, and then we train them, they understand, and then afterward they become ambassadors by creating a performance. Then they would go back and disseminate information in the community using Circus. But then what happens is that some young people, like they are so attached, they become passionate, and they want to perform. And this is where now we bring them in the performance company. So overall, Seka Zambia has reached over, like I think over 10,000 people in the course of 10 years with different intervention performances and things like that. We're actually celebrating our 10 years. We decided not this year, but next year, December again. So the beginning of 2026 would be our anniversary.
Congratulations, early congratulations on your 10-year anniversary. Very well earned with all the people that you have reached and all the changes that you have created. We have been talking a little bit about the organization, about the team. Well, we haven't talked about your team, and I would like to ask you about them. But before we talk about the team that is around you, I wanted to ask, when you started, when it was the beginning of Circus Zambia, do you remember what was for you or for your team in general the biggest challenge that you faced at the start? Like, what was the thing that you were like, this is very, very hard? And I was not thinking that this was going to happen when I decided to transform my street performance into a project to change the world.
Yeah, no, I think, we faced a lot of challenges. Like one of the challenges that I remember was that, like, like as artists, sometimes we call ourselves as like a free spirit. So a long time ago, I used to have like a lot of afro, and and like I naturally I have beard since I was young. So I even had like so much beard. But at some point, we were supposed to go do a presentation at the Ministry of Youth. And so I, like, went there in a t-shirt and a what. Then I went to the ministry, and yeah, that it was really difficult because I mean they saw me and they were like, who are you? And then I tried to explain, and nobody is like listening to what you want to do. And then they're like, why do you have so much like beards? Why do you have so much hair? And hey, that was very traumatizing because I felt like, some offices are just like open and you can just go and like, like the world is just there for you. But sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes you need to even push hard, even to get the doors that you think are open to be opened for you. So we went to the ministry, and the ministry basically said, no, we like, and I was a young person, so it was really very like also like the way you look, like people judge you because of the way you look. And I remember that day I went home and went to the barber shop, went to cut all my hair, went to cut my beard, went to buy nice shirts. I bought nice shirts, and I brought like a nice trousers. And then next time we went back there, I went back there. I was dressed in this time. I was dressed in a suit, and they were like, like, do you want some coffee? And they were very different. And so I don't know, but that was for me. It was very difficult because then it felt like I needed to change in some way, like not to be yourself. And where they say like fake it till you make it. Like you don't even have money to buy a shirt or a suit, but you need to be forced to go buy those things because then people will take you seriously. But also, like over the years, what we've seen is like even when we've done shows in the community, like trying to bring people from outside to go in Shivoria is really challenging because like like change doesn't come like overnight, like boom, like you just change things. Some of the things what we've realized is a cultural, it's just like it's a cultural thing. So for you to change it, you need to visit it on so many levels in that sense. And yeah, so but yes, I feel like overall, like I took it as a learning process for us because I knew that we were like not professionals. We didn't know we had a vision, right? But it's not like it was set out like okay, you do A and then you move to B, then you move to C, then it's done. It was always like you need to like push through, navigate, and find people that can support you. Because even when we were registering Circus Zambia, we had to go back to the ministry even 10 times because they were like, you forgot this, you go back, you go find it, you forgot this, and you go back. And sometimes even now when I go through these processes, I'm like also still learning. I'm like, actually, we'll just go there and find out what we need, and then we'll keep going until we get what we want to get. Yes, we did know how to like learn like like sometimes you feel like just setting up an organization, then you expect things will be done, but you need to put in a lot of work actually, because if you don't put in a lot of work, you then then things don't happen because you're not putting in the effort that is needed. So I feel, like even as young people from the global south, I think yes, I can imagine like in our settings that we need to be persistent, consistent in that set to be able to achieve the things that we want to achieve.
It is a shame that you had to change yourself in order to get attention from the authorities. That should never be the case, especially when you're that young. You should have access to be yourself, to express yourself, and to be taken serious.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry that you had to went through that, but sadly, that's how a lot of institutions and government institutions work with. Like they want you to behave in their small frame of thought of thinking, and it's very
Mhm.
very annoying. But
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that small hiccup in the journey of Circus Samba and how it affected you. And thinking about it and asking about it, can you share a little bit about the team that has been with you? How they have impacted Circus Zambia? How are they still with you, the founders? Have they moved over? I read on your website that you a lot of the young people that were working or were learning to be part of the circus have themselves become teachers, become even renowned artists around the world. So I don't know if you can share a little bit more about the people that have been with you from the beginning. What happened to the starting team, and who is with you now?
Yeah. So when we like started, we were like the first generation, right? So it was me, Amos, Bernard, there was Bright Karutua, there was Victor, and there were Thomas, there was Mwansa. So Amos left and he started his own club, uh, and yeah, is doing really well. Victor left Zambia, went to live in South Africa. Blight stopped as well, is working now in the CBD. And so after our first generation, so the only people that have left is just me and Bernard, and Charlotte, of course, because Charlotte was always also there from the beginning. Yes, I feel like like the time I appreciated having a group was I don't remember. I don't remember, but I feel like what I can say was always there were moments that I would be like, when we're doing something and I feel demotivated. I go sit in the house and then I'm like, I don't know what we're doing. And suddenly your friend picks it up and takes it to a different level. I think another instance was when we had Charlotte, for instance, because me and my Zambian friends, we were not really good at like writing and putting documenting everything and things like that. And so when we had Charlotte, and then we were like, I'd written some like draft project of Circus Zambia, and she got it and wrote it, analyzed it in a sense that people would understand. And even that, like realizing that we all had like different skill set. Like for instance, Bernard, one of my friends, was always good with money. Like sometimes would like have income that would come from our performances, and Bernard would keep it, and Bernard would make sure we like do what we say. If we say this money we're saving because we need to do ABC, if we say can we have the money, but it's for something different, Bernard will say no. Remember, we said this is what we need to do. And Bernard even now was like over the years he's grown and is gone to university, went to study accounting, and is still like within Seka Zambia as an accountant. And so I feel like, yes, I feel like this help has, like bringing all like contributing with our skill set. I was always like I want to create shows. I want to create like bring young people and take them to the performance and do this. So everybody found their own niche. And then a second generation that we've worked with, they've grown as well, because like I remember when we started, we didn't have infrastructure, and we set up some infrastructure. We have light, with sound, we have like we have an offices. You can just come in, you can use our internet. We have solar at our space. So even when we have like power issues in Zambia, we're not really affected now because of these things. And I've seen, because of all of these like I don't know, assets that we've also developed, and the network that we've built over the years, like it's been easy for the second generation to just like take that up. And a lot of them, one of them is working in the USA, goes back and forth. I mean, a few of them actually, like about four. Now we have five people that are going to work in the USA, like in the different circuses. So they'll go perform and come back. Other young people, they've set up their own circus companies, small companies. Like before, we were like the only circus, but now we are, I think, about 3 or 4 groups, and all these are the same young people that have like gone through Circus Zambia. And actually, right now, we're doing a project with the United Nations Alliance for Civilization, where we're trying to also like support these grassroots organization with like skill set, because remember us, we were just like doing things we didn't understand, but now I feel like I know so much. So we'll be like helping them to like understand how do you like set up an organization, how do you set up a sustainable organization, how do you run like a non-profit organization. So they'll be doing activities on like fundraising, finance, and performances. So yes, I mean we're trying to do the best we can, and support as many people as possible. And with this, then we can say, look, we've like impacted young people, and we've helped to create change in that aspect.
We hope you're enjoying this episode. As you probably know, the Voices of the South survives thanks to the support of the people around the project, and we would like to ask you to consider supporting us. There are several ways to support the project. The best way you can support us is by subscribing to our Patreon, where you can support us with $1 a month and receive various benefits, such as our exclusive series, The Echoes of the South, where we feature the stories of social innovators from the Global South who are no longer with us, but whose work was fundamental in changing the world. If you can't support us on Patreon but still want to help, the best way to do it is by subscribing to the podcast, giving us a rating, leaving a comment, and most importantly, sharing it with somebody else. Any of these actions help us reach more people and thus gain more support. Now, let's go back to the interview. If you let me say that, but I think the best you do is incredible. It's amazing the amount of people that Circus Zambia have touched and changed their life. It's not only because you have given perhaps opportunity to have economic development, but also companionship, societal belonging. I have read the whole webpage and I love it. And I think that all the work that you guys have done for 10 years is beautiful. And I hope that you keep doing it for as long as you want to do it. And when you are tired and you don't want to do it anymore, I hope somebody else picks up and keeps going, because this is kind of the programs that I want to see, that we need to see in the world, where people come together to make a change, the change that you want to make, not the change that somebody in Brussels or somebody in New York or in London is asking you to make. It's a change that you guys wanted to create, and this is what is being materialized right now. So thank you very much for sharing all the experience. We are going now to the middle of the interview. We're going now to a part that I really like, and is the biggest achievement and the fuck up. The biggest achievement for you, it can be anything. Perhaps the first time that you won an award or a grant, or maybe the first time that one of the kids in the program came to you and told you, "Hey, I can do this pirouette, or I can do this very complex figure with my body that I would probably not be able because I'm just not flexible at all." It could be that. It could be whatever you team and you feel that makes you warm inside, and it's like, this is why I do this every day. That's the first question. The second question is, why or when was the moment when Circus Zambia was like really close to close, very near to be closed, for a mistake, for something that happened, and how you and your team managed to get over that? And this question is not so much about evidencing and being like, "Oh yeah, mira, look at that, they fucked up." It's more on the, even if he and the team of Circus Zambia, who has been in this for 10 years, they can make a mistake. Whoever who is coming behind, whoever who is hearing this interview and maybe getting inspired by this interview, can say, "Hey, I can also make mistakes and I can also recover from this and keep going with life." You choose if you want to start with the fucked up, or you want to start with the happiest thing. And yeah, now the microphone is yours.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'll start with the fucked up one. I think. I mean, for me, like, don't know, but it's mostly when the organization is growing. Like when you are like you have a group of people. Like eventually, people create their own ideas on how things should be and how things should go. And the most challenging thing is then you start fighting on the executive level on like little things, because I don't know how it comes, because also like I think it's part of the process, I guess. Like you are in the executive team and you say, I feel like we should do this, and somebody said, no, I don't think that is right, I think we should do this. And you forget about what you're doing and how many people you're reaching, and it becomes, I think, so at some point it becomes really, you become selfish in that aspect. And I feel like we've gone that like storm phase where we don't agree on a leadership level, and we fight so bad, not fighting as in like physical fight, but argument. And people are like really pissed. You can see that people are like pissed, and you feel like the only solution is for them to just go out, or me, even me, I had said at some point, I'm leaving, I'm going, because I don't think I'm like we're doing what we always wanted to do. I feel like we're changing and I don't like what we're doing. And you fight on the leadership level. And yes, it's been very hard, like super hard, where I've like even like you take even like a week or so where you're like, I'm not going to the office because it's just very annoying. And you know what has helped? Like having mentors and having like our board of directors as well. Like they've been like a board of our chairman has been there since inception. So sometimes when things have been hard and we can't decide, we've gone out and like asked for some advice. And sometimes we've looked at things on like on people's, like, because in the end it's all about perceptions and how they see it, how you see it. So it's always like you need to find where are the consensus. But yes, I think like you need, it's not all glory, and sometimes like especially conflict within the management and the executive is always there. And if you're not strong, and a lot of people leave because of this, if you can't find a way to like work out, you don't have a format on how things should be done. There's many times I have felt like, I think it's about time I move on, I go do other things. But yes, I guess if you go back now to the glory, is it's always like, since we started, like the biggest achievement I have seen is that a lot of young people that we've worked with can see that like where you come from doesn't describe where you should go. Like that place, I've heard it so much, but it actually, I've seen it work in on the ground. Where young people now that we've worked with, some of them are like musicians, and some of them now are like using music to talk about these issues that they face in the community, and just having that like ripple effect that like just trickles down, and you see that you are like not alone. Like before you were like alone in um like a sea, but now you see that many young people understand what we want to do, and they're taking it up, and even like just touching one person is like the most fulfilling thing that I always feel. And this is always what drives me as well, is to create a movement. In that sense, create a movement that, like you were saying, Carlos, if I'm gone, then I know that the young people, Circus Zambia, will be taken over by the community, and they understand its value, and it will keep going beyond what we've done now.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I agree that executive level infighting can be deadly for any organization, and thank you for also sharing that part of you that is like, yeah, I kind of feel sure that whatever happens with me, the Circus Zambia will continue and will keep going on. I have another question regarding these two topics, and it's, what would you consider is the secret of success for Circus Zambia? Uh, I know, and a lot of the time, it's super hard to say, like, this is the one reason why we are successful. But if you had to choose one, if there was, or maybe two reasons, what is the reason or the two reasons that you think you guys are successful and you have changed so many lives right now?
Yeah. Um. Yes, I could summarize that as luck, like having luck, but also doing things at the right moment, where it's like, when the stars aligned and you're like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and you start doing that, and people around you realize that, oh, actually what you're doing is actually needed, so we'll support you and to make this happen. And I think because of that, we've been successful in that regard. And over the years, we've met with people that have brought in different expertise. We've collaborated. We've learned. and yeah, and hopefully we keep growing like that, you know.
Okay, so it would be fair to say that the secret for your success is teamwork, not being
Yeah,
afraid to
and
collaborate with other organizations and with the people inside of the organization.
yeah, so I think it's yes, I think it's a lot to do with teamwork. We've worked together. Like I was trying to give an example where there were moments where I felt like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. But somebody says, "Oh, let's do this," and then you're like, "Oh, that is actually brilliant. Let's pick it up." And they energize you back, and you keep going like that. And also, luck has played a biggest role as well. Where like we met people that really helped us at the right time, and we started at the right time. We're working in the in a place that has difficulty and there's so much need, and it's easy for us to like to it's not really easy, but it's like I was saying in the beginning, there's so much needs and there's so much problems, and so what we're doing is also essential. It's needed in this particular sector or settings in that sense.
Not to contradict you, but I just want to say that the work that you have, not only you, but the whole team in Circus Zambia, it should be recognized. And I would say that it's not so much as luck, but the moment that your preparation and your action has met opportunity. And yeah, of course, there is random happenings of fate that would have, yeah, otherwise things maybe wouldn't be able to happen. But I truly believe that a lot of the effort that you guys have created is because that you have worked and prepped and your actions. And yeah, sure, that that maybe exploded the moment that the opportunity happened, right? Because I truly believe that what you guys have done is it cannot be explained just by luck. It's too much. It's wonderful. But thank you again for answering the question. And let's start getting close to the end of the interview. We're gonna talk about the future. You were saying that next year you're gonna start celebrating your 10 years, which is very well earned. What can you tell us about the future of Circus Zambia? What is going to be the perhaps the celebrations, or maybe celebrations are a little bit too far away? What is the plan for the end of the year?
Well, right now we are at the I think it's I don't know. I want to say it's the right moment, but at the same time, it's always like, oh, there is other things that we still want to do, and the biggest of them all is for Seka Zambia to be like a sustainable organization or as an enterprise. In that aspect, we're trying to set up a touring company because we feel if you know we're registered as a non-profit, so then if we're able to raise income from income generating performances that we do, then it would be able to sustain the organization. But also next year for the first time we'll be performing in the UK in Edinburgh Fringe Festival there, and we're hoping to set up our touring performance company with a wonderful show called Afronauts. It's based on the people in Zambia in the 60s that wanted to go to the moon. So they became like a crackpot. They became like a joke to the outside world. But we're bringing this story back to life and say, what if actually they had the resources? What if they managed to actually go to the moon? And what does this mean actually for Pan Africanism and those topics that are like like after post colonial? What is Zambia, for instance, supposed to be doing to be supporting individuals like that? So yes, so we're doing that. I'm really excited about that. We've created a new partnership with Adidas Foundation that I talked about this as well. That is expanding our reach. So we were not only working in our like township, but we're working all over Lusaka. Yesterday we had a meeting with the minister at the Ministry of Youth. Like before, I remember I was saying 10 years ago we couldn't even get that. Now we can easily, and he's helping us to like launch in the school. So we're excited that we'll be doing that project as well. And yeah, I feel, I mean, we still have a lot of work we have to do. For instance, like this word sustainability and understanding what it means for Circus Zambia and what we should do in order to make sure that the organization is sustainable. When that time comes, when I say I want to move on as well, when everybody wants to move on, we know that okay, the organization will run nicely, you know, like on the management level, at the performance and everything that we're doing now. But yes, so I guess it's a lot of tiny pieces that we still need to piece together to in order to feel like okay, this is something that we can just leave and go because now it's okay.
I mean, yep, a lot of pieces, but the only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time, as they would say. So, congratulations on trying to create this new side of Circus Zambia to create more sustainable income of monetary resources. I think it's worth it. Congratulations on the show that you're gonna be having on the, I guess, literally the other hemisphere of the world, where you're gonna be presenting and the developing of this new story. Uh, where you're gonna try to bring a little bit of the Zambian pop culture, I guess, into other places of the world. Sounds very
Mm.
interesting. Thank you for sharing that, and best of lucks with it. Okay, we are getting ready to end the interview. I have a question that I would like you to answer is what would you recommend to the new social innovators that are starting, the people that use as you 10 years ago were like, hey, I want to use my skills into creating something to change the world, what would be the recommendation that you would give them?
I think the recommendation is I feel like don't wait for tomorrow, don't wait for when the time is right for you to start. When we started, I didn't even have any skills. I mean, we were performing, of course, but we didn't know how to learn. How do you learn an organization? What are the requirements? A lot of these things we just learn as we go. The most important thing is to start now. If you want to tell your story, tell it today. You know, find ways to do it now. When it's burning in you, when you can feel it. Because if you wait too long, it might just die, and it will never happen because there's never a right moment, you know. So yeah, I feel like if you jump in, you learn as you go. That is what I can say.
That's a very fair advice. The best way to learn how to swim is to get into the water. So yeah, don't be that afraid. It's perhaps
Yeah.
gonna be difficult, and for sure you're gonna have a bit of a shock, but you will definitely learn how to do it on the way, I guess. Well, you're gonna have to learn. Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
Do you have anything that you would like to say to any of the donors, any of the people that help bring the change? I mean, apart from being thankful to them, I don't know if you want to share anything that you would like to say to them.
Carlos, I don't have so much to say. I mean, I think it's just being grateful that we've gone with all of these people on the journey, you know, like from initiation now to like learning an organization, and now we are even like imagining what the sustainability looks like, and to be able to go with a lot of foundations, a lot of like, you know, like um individual donors that have come in to support, a lot of people that have come in to support with like skills or wisdom or whatever you can call it. It's just being grateful and yeah, and you know, we're paying it forward, I would say. I don't think I would like pay back or we would pay back to them. We don't know if we can manage, but we're just paying forward and helping the next people that are coming in.
Okay, this last part of the interview is an open space for you. If you have something that you would like to share to whoever is listening, or do you want to go deep into something that the interview didn't cover, please let us know.
No, I feel like yeah, no, I feel like we've covered almost all the parts of Circus Zambia in that sense. Thank you, Carlos. for being a wonderful questionnaire. I should say, yeah. I think I'm happy.
No, thank you for coming. Thank you for letting us record your history and the history of Circus Zambia. I think the work that you guys are doing is impressive, and I hope that it can be replicated and promoted everywhere, or if not everywhere, in a lot of places around the global south. So thank you very much, Keith, for adding your voice and the voice of your organization into the library that we're creating here. Finally, where can people find you, find Circus Zambia, and how can they help you if they want to help or they have the resources to help?
Yeah, you can reach us on we're Circus Zambia is on LinkedIn. It's on all the social platforms. Also, we have a website. There's email addresses. If you want to donate, you can donate via Circus Zambia. I think on the website as well, there's a donation platform. And if you donate there, you can say if you want us to like put it in the Mind program, for instance, where we support young people to go back to school, or you can just donate unrestricted, and that means you can help us. Like it goes to the operation as well, or anything. I think like over the years I think we've done it because of people's generosity, and if it continues, then it will help us reach many people. So yes.
Okay, then perfect. Thank you very much for being here, Gift. It was a pleasure having you in the Voices of the South.
Nice. Thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. That's the entire episode, and we hope to see you on the next edition of the Voices of the South. Many thanks to our patrons, as this work would be impossible without them.